5, Leland Live, talking to M5. Let's keep going as we roll through an afternoon, kind of the last work day for a lot of people before we get to Christmas Eve. And y'all be careful out there if you're going to be traveling. I think I heard somewhere today there are going to be 9 million people out there flying, much less tens of millions on the road, short and long trips, going to see family. It's odd when it lands on a Thursday and then it sort of wipes out the whole second half of the week, and it gives some people more of an incentive to take those longer trips. So just be patient. 280 wasn't that bad today for one, but inevitably 65 is going to jump up this afternoon. We'll keep you up to date on the traffic and everything else that's happening. Mandu bringing you the show tonight. Let's talk for a minute. I know I'm still on that train to try to get some things right, drop a few pounds in the new year. It always seems to happen, doesn't it? It's tough during the holidays to fight off. Look, I'm staring at a big old pan full of fudge that Richard Dixon dropped on all of us.
Oh, is that what that said?
There's always treats in your face during Christmas. So enjoy your holidays. But when you get ready to get it right, get it tight, and you hate gyms, or maybe you just can't do gyms anymore because resistance training is something that you feel too old, or you've got some other issues in mobility and other problems, Mandu may be the solution for that. This is unique. It's a full body muscle stimulation routine. They put you in their suit. It uses little tiny electric currents to kind of flex your muscles, and people find it to be very effective. It's super efficient. You can't do it every day. In fact, it's only a 15-minute workout, and it does your entire body. It would take you 6 hours to do that in the gym to work all your muscle groups with the right number of reps. So it's super, super efficient. And people in this audience for years now have decided that it just works. And now there's an even newer niche. A lot of folks are taking the I forget the technical name for the weight loss shots that are now, I heard today they're going to now be in pill form and are effective in that pill form. And that's going to probably have more and more people involved in that. The downside is you do lose weight, but you can also lose muscle mass and bone density because you're not, think about it, you're not losing weight because you worked out, you're losing weight because of the drugs. And if you're not working out, you could lose your muscle mass and bone density. So you need to complement the success you're having with the weight loss with some training. And this may be the 1-2 punch because this is just as efficient as the weight loss shots. It's not a huge time commitment. You're not going to a sweaty, nasty gym. You get your own personal trainer in your own private dressing space. It's a really cool deal. Y'all go see Paul in the new year. In fact, reach out to him now and go ahead and get your appointment too, because they'll be crowded like everybody else in the new year. Get your appointment to come try it for free, and they'll see you at Mandu. They're in downtown Homewood. Google them, and you can see where they are up on the second floor. You got to look up when you park down in Homewood. And go try it out yourself and see how it works for you. It's Mandu. Put 2 U's in there when you spell it. Mandu.com, Mandu.com. Okay, real quick, we're chasing 3 developing stories. Let me get those in, then we'll get Clarissa's call. First, there's been some sort of active shooter situation in a DMV in Wilmington, Delaware. We're looking at to see what's going to be. That last report we had were 2 down, maybe 1 involving an officer. We don't know if this is going to be a mass shooting incident technically or just some person that got upset at the DMV. And then we've got this horrifying story. I mean, literally just a thing of nightmares out of Bristol, Pennsylvania. A nursing home has had an explosion and a subsequent fire, and there are dozens of people trapped. They assumed there's going to be some fatalities involved in this because the explosion was so big. Massive response of the police to get to the scene and try to rescue those persons. Those rescue operations are ongoing right now while we speak, so we're taking a look at that one. We'll let you know if there's any other update on that. And the Supreme Court in a 6-3 ruling just ruled against Trump in the deployment of the National Guard to the city of Chicago. It's a temporary ruling for now, but it puts that operation on hold, which it's been on hold anyway. This is reasonable. What by that I mean, you can't just deploy the military where you want to as president. We have argued on behalf of presidential powers in a number of occasions where the left is wanting to pretend to themselves that this president can't be president because they don't like him and doesn't enjoy the powers of the previous president. He does. He's the president. But by design, we have limited presidential powers. And without the cooperation of a governor a president can't just deploy troops into the state without coordination and cooperation. States have sovereignty. And so it's not really a surprise ruling. You also get a sense that the Supreme Court likes to rule against Trump when they can because so many of these cases are so frivolous. They've got several other pro-Trump on the Trump team rulings. He's won the vast majority of these things. So if you're going to take a loss and you're on the Trump team, this is the one you want to take. Because they've got a Democrat governor who's a gigantic loser and will allow his state and city to devolve just like Tim Walz has. It doesn't mean the president gets to force the National Guard in there. Now, ICE and Homeland Security, a whole different matter. They do have purview to be in there. One, they're not the military. They're law enforcement. They're enforcing federal laws that apply in the state of Illinois like they do everywhere else. So these governors are wrong on ICE and Homeland Security, but in some cases, if they're not inviting the military in because of a declared emergency by the governor of the state, then the president's not going to have the authority to do that. And that's really not a huge surprise this afternoon, but a setback for the White House, who was still maintaining that they had that authority under some concepts of emergency that they had declared. So how's that? Okay, so we're chasing a few actual serious stories this afternoon. Let's go to the phones. Clarissa's up next in Alabaster. What do you know, Clarissa?
Hey, Leland. I just wanted to call and defend the America's 250th Alabama commercial. I do know the commercial the young man is speaking of. I don't see anything wrong with the commercial. There are people from all backgrounds in the commercial. The guy that he's speaking of in particular has some feminine features in his jawline. But the purpose of the 250th initiative across the whole country, and especially here in Alabama. I know the team that works on that the team behind America's 250th AL.
Yeah.
I know how hard they've worked, and the initiative is to bring everybody under the umbrella of the founding principles and documents of the United States of America, and to bring everybody back to constitutional literacy. And so every state has a commission set up in their state of who is responsible for promoting that initiative in that state. And American Village beat out Space Camp, Space and Rocket Center, the 16th Baptist Street Church, and the museum there. And so they do a wonderful job. And again, it's just meant to bring everybody back under the umbrella of constitutional literacy, regardless sort of what you look like. If you have tattoos or whatever, that we are one country united under our founding documents and our founding fathers. So anyway,
stuff.
I just wanted to call and defend that a little bit, Leland.
No, that's fine. Do that. I'm glad you did. I haven't seen it. Still haven't seen it. Don't know what the caller was calling about.
That website is America250AL.org. And like I said, American Village is Alabama's designated semi-quincentennial celebration capital for our state. So y'all go check it out. There's lots of information, Facebook and everything there. I personally am not affiliated with the team, but I know them and I know how hard they work, and I just wanted to call and give them a shout-out.
Good for them. And now I got to see the commercial. AJ, we have a controversy. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. Thanks, Clarissa. Good job, as always, laying down the law. Okay, back. I'm not trying to. I want to talk about that, but I've got to go back to this story as we're watching this nursing home situation. It's Bucks County, Pennsylvania, is where Bristol, Pennsylvania is. We heard a lot about Bucks County during the previous elections. It's a hotbed of political activity and visits. Multiple people trapped. There's one report that there are 12 people trapped on a second floor, and that flame is just roaring at this facility. And then, of course, we've got a potential story over in Delaware, not too far away. This part of Pennsylvania and Delaware are pretty close together, where a state trooper is now being reported was killed at the DMV. Now, I know that the troopers do work some of the license offices for the state testing and whatnot on occasion, or you can get licenses at some DMVs. Some DMVs are the state trooper posts, put it that way. Not for tags and all that here in Alabama. So it's conceivable that this was a trooper in Delaware that already worked at that location, was there for official business. But for some reason, gunshots rang out and a huge police response. We're chasing two tragedies back to back. This nursing home thing is just heartbreaking. I've had relatives in nursing homes. I know some nursing homes are excellent and just amazing at what they do. Some are just sad. I mean, it just is. Let's just be honest. I remember when I was a kid, there's actually a picture of me and my sister when we were really little. One of the things we'd always do as a church is all the kids would go visit the nursing homes, see the old people, and take them treats and stuff. And I have a vivid memory of that at like 5 years old. But these facilities sometimes can be older, a little bit out of date. We don't know what's this looks like an older building. We still don't know the cause of the explosion, but what a sad tragedy if people died in this, and you almost have to lower your expectations that folks are going to get out alive. There have to be, considering again the force of the explosion, the subsequent fire, and the condition of the folks that lived there. It just looks like this is brewing to be a really, really heartbreaking story as we sit here at Christmas time. And you've got to know that people that had their relatives in those facilities are just standing there waiting for word, and it could be a long time coming. So we're watching those things tonight and taking your phone calls. 545-9950. Ox Foundation Solutions next up here on the show. Oxstrong.com, oxstrong.com. These are the folks I trust to send to your house to deal with anything you've got going on from the floorboards down. This is a foundation company of the first order. They do all of it, house leveling, water leaks, shifts, cracks, all that stuff, water removal. Sometimes you got a perpetual water problem, and you've got to install removal systems to keep you dried out. They'll handle that for you. But in this time of the year, usually I'm not even talking about encapsulation because that's something that we do think about of a lot more in the summer with the humidity. But as they've instructed me, the encapsulation also creates a thermal barrier. It's like putting a little blanket underneath your floorboards in a crawl space and around the exterior walls, which can also protect your pipes and some of the infrastructure under your house and keep that cold air from coming up into your house and fighting with your heating and air system. Makes sense. Just one more reason to have that done. You should not have any crawl space of any type without having encapsulation done. So get that done and get it with the pros at oxstrong.com, oxstrong.com. I was kind of sitting here listening to that to figure out what the other gifts were because I've forgotten over the years. It's a bunch of birds.
Yeah.
Why are they giving a bunch of birds and in the middle there's 5 gold? Is it rings?
Yeah, golden
Are those
rings.
birds as well or actual rings?
Actual rings.
So in the middle of all those birds, they snuck some rings in there.
Right.
You know, you listen to these songs your whole life and you just kind of listen to them. But the logic of it escapes me.
Now, there's also some ladies milking, I think that's supposed to be one of the
Okay, are we
gifts.
close to 12 now? Let's just go ahead and listen to the whole thing. I mean, we got time to kill, so. Oh, no, he's only on 9. I don't know. Yeah, he's got 9 ladies and a bunch of maids milking what?
birds.
Milking birds? In a partridge in a pear tree.
I mean, have you never had like pigeon milk?
Not today. Lords of Leaping.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good refresher on how this song goes. What do we get to at 12? You remember the guy that the rigging up the lights one? With the 12 days things of Christmas that tick him off.
Oh yes.
Rigging up the lights. These have to be metaphors for something, right? Yet another question. Did he keep sending these same gifts over and over? Like he just kept, so that'd be actually 12 partridges and then 144 of whatever this is. That's an annoying gift.
Oh God.
Might as well let him finish, Clark. What year was that written? I've got so many questions. I mean, I've heard it my whole life, and now I'm suddenly questioning everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was wow. That was I think it was released back in the 40s.
So like 30s, 40s. I mean, that's when the song. I wonder who wrote this and what was the real story behind it.
Yeah, because I'm like, what's like, how do they rhyme? Geese are swimming, maids are milking. Like,
how did that become a hit?
Right. Well, Bing Crosby, I think.
Well, anything Bing does, Bing's the man. Bing and Nat King Cole, man, come on. Still the kings of Christmas. Mariah Carey and Wham can't touch that. They might as well forget it.
I mean, her song is still the #1 song on the Christmas list. So
people have no taste. I can't account for that. Allen & Company, speaking of taste, good Lord, they left us such a nice Christmas present here for me and AJ yesterday, and they're so thoughtful that way. And so let me publicly thank them for that, the nice, refreshing Christmas gifts, and thank them for being there for us all these years for whatever you need in the way of fine jewelry with that personal touch with the Thompson family. It's good to have a whole family that cares about your purchase. They really do. That's not a throwaway line. They want you to be bragging about them and how well they treated you and how good it looks and how happy you are with it, because that's how you stay in business and have 2 generations, almost 3 generations now, in and out of there helping customers as they come in. This is no chain store. This is not corporate America suck the money out of your wallets with some sales language. This is just you hanging out, browsing as long as you want and getting it exactly like you want it. Beautiful stuff. You'll be proud to show off. They're ready to gift wrap it for you too. They got their own little special silver wrapping paper, and they're back there knocking out those gifts. If you're still running around this afternoon in traffic and you want to throw in one more little bracelet or a pair of earrings or a little pendant or something like that, or something big, they're ready for you. The doors are open, and they will help you get that done. It'll be wrapped and done. You can check that off your list and be ready for 2 days from now or tomorrow. A lot of folks do their exchanging tomorrow. It's Allen & Company. They're in Vestavia on the main drag. I call it the main drag because all the retail in Vestavia is really right there along Highway 31. Allen & Company. All right, let's go to Kevin. Is it Kevin? In Alabaster. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, I was listening to one of your shows on the weekend. It's one of those retire or, the income shows and stuff like that. And
yeah.
They were talking about a Christmas index they use, and they based everything on that days of Christmas. And they talked about year to year how you can see how much everything costs. And I think it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars if you bought everything on there, because they referenced the maids of milking relating to housing somewhere or another. I'm pretty sure there's a way that you can look at Old English and stuff like that.
Right.
But I can't remember the name of the website, but it has something to do with the Christmas inflation cost.
Yeah.
And they look at that, and it's kind of like a joke because a lot of this stuff's not even valid anymore. But it was really interesting. But I think the maids of milking has something to do with housing.
I got to look this up now. So index for inflation, were you to purchase all the items in the song, it would be thousands of dollars by now. That's a very generous true love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just wanted to let you know about that. I'd heard it on like the station on one of the retirement shows that they talk about, because, the cost of living is always going up, and they use that as kind of a funny thing because, a lot of people have heard that song, and when the reality of how much some of that stuff costs year to year, and you can look at the change, you're like, oh my gosh, this is kind of going up, because
That's pretty
that
funny.
affects everybody's retirement at some point.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it does, and they
wanted
make
to
a
help
good
out with
point
that.
with that. That was a good example here at Christmas time of the cost of things. Well done, Kevin. Thanks, man. It's Kevin down in Alabaster.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I was kind of looking it up as he was talking.
Yeah.
And it says the time period of the 12 days of Christmas is December 25th,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes all the way to January 6th. And obviously Christmas Day and Epiphany, or Three Kings Day, which is January 6th. The purpose, a sacred festive season in the church calendar to commemorate Christ's birth and the revelation of Jesus Christ to the Gentiles.
Well, what
through
about the song?
Magna.
What about the song?
About to go through that.
Okay.
All right.
You said the clock, right? Go.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. 1, partridge and pear tree, Jesus Christ. A mother partridge protects her young. 2 turtle doves, the Old and New Testament. 3 French horn, faith, hope, and charity.
Somebody just made that up. Somebody completely made that up.
No, this is history on this stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Calling birds, 4 gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. 5 golden rings, talk about the Old Testament, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. 6 geese of laying, 6 days of creation, 7 swans of swimming. This is a lot. 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit.
Go. You got 20 seconds.
8
Go.
beauty ties for
Go.
8 maids of milking, 9 days lances, the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit, 10 lords leaping, the
Hallelujah.
10 commandments, the 11 pipers piping, the 11 faithful apostles, and 12 drummers drumming, the 12 points of the doctrine of the Apostle Creed. Yes.
Just think somebody wrote that without Google. They just made all that up on there. 3:30. Back in a minute. I've always loved that old Hayes Carl song, but the part about the good-looking cousin kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm like, dude, why'd he throw that in there? Not to reinforce a stereotype, but still.
Hey, he's keeping it real. Or keeping it rural.
Keeping it rural. Leading live, talking at 5. Hueytown Pawn, let's talk. Tommy's got the deals. They are slinging the deals at Hueytown Pawn, and they're ready to see you. Don't forget, again, let me just run through them real quick. I got to pull up Tommy's text messages because he has a lot of stuff going on over there. First, I mean, it's a genuine gun counter. They've got so many options for both the tactical platforms and then, of course, the if you need a hunting rifle, the things that go in hunting rifles, all the scopes, sound suppression, all that stuff. And then, of course, personal carry. So we'll work our way through that. In the personal carry, they've got just this week, they've got this Ruger 57 on sale. That's a cool little gun. Sexy little gun, $399. That is a nice gift for somebody, especially somebody that's never owned, needs to train and protect themselves. So over on the AR platforms on the tactical side, they've got the Radical platform. Those are still on sale. They keep those in stock all the time. They've got an inline with the manufacturer. $389.99 on the Radicals, both the short and the long one. And then, of course, with the hunting rigs, the Ruger American Gen 2 rifles, brand new rifles, in stock, all calibers, $539 through the holidays over at Hueytown Pawn. Y'all go see them on Brook Lane Drive. Some of y'all have never considered riding over to Hueytown to check out a gun, but this is a really cool gun shop, and you'll get to know Tommy. Once you get to know him, you got the relationships, and when they get these deals in, I've already bought 2 guns from them this year. They get these deals in, they're just irresistible for collectors and others. Hueytown Pawn over in Hueytown, Brook Lane Drive. All right, let's double back. We are still following a couple of stories. What we think happened at the DMV shooting in Wilmington, Delaware, is a state trooper wound up getting in a gunfire exchange with another guy. The state trooper is passed, according to the governor, and the initial shooter that came in there or was there has also died. And as of now, those are the only 2 deaths that we know about in that situation. And then over in Bristol, Pennsylvania, the search and rescue continues for folks that were in that nursing home when it blew up. You can see even the parts that aren't on fire and aren't consumed with smoke pouring out of the windows. You can see the windows on the building blown outward. You can see the glass on the ground where the explosion blew the windows from the inside out. It's going to be stunning if many people survive this, but you can always pray for a miracle this time of the year. So, if you're a praying person, they're calling it a level 2 mass casualty event right now in that part of Pennsylvania, and massive response right now. Search and rescue, still trying to get the fire out, still trying to see who they can save from these poor folks that were living there at that facility, and the heartbreak in the community for people that loved them too. It just doesn't get more heartbreaking than a story like that here 2 days before Christmas. We'll get you updated. It's not going to surprise me if in a little while I'm supposing that we may see a local news conference so that they can account for what has happened. I can't imagine this early they're going to know the cause of an explosion, but oftentimes you'll hear about gas leaks. It is a cold part of the year, and people, they use a lot of fuel like that for their heating sources in that part of the country. Speaking of heat, we've got warm several days through Christmas, but the cold air comes back this weekend, and by Monday, we're back in the possibly below freezing for highs. So we're getting whipsawed with this weather pattern. So just know that. Don't put the coats away yet. Get away with your shorts and flip-flops for a couple of days, but we're back to, sure enough, winter weather and just before the weekend's even over. So that in the forecast today, too. And by the way, there are a lot of maps showing snow 2 weeks out. None of that's legit. Don't believe anything on the internet. Find you a good weather source and trust them. Henry is up next in Winston County. What's up, Henry?
99.5 is a good weather source.
Yeah, man.
All right. Hey, Leland, the Babylonians, and I want to say Merry Christmas to all the listeners and yourself, and I hope your blessings are multiplied over and over.
Well,
I want to tell you, Leland, the job of the wicked Babylonians is to take and steal our joy. And they try that by telling all different lies for Christmas. It's not the time the Savior was born and all that. Well, I hate to agree in some respect. Christ was conceived on December 25th. I can prove it because God says so. I believe God over any man who tries to tell me differently because the Bible says it. Luke chapter 1 will give you all that information you need. I'll try to run it by talking fast, but I don't know. I'm not a good talker. You know that as well. I bet the only reason why you allow me is just to prove that you're a way better talker, and I am not even close. I would like to be, though. Christ was conceived December 25th. The perfect gestation rate would make him being born on September 29th. Now, you can find all this out. It's hidden, but the clues are there. In chapter 1, I think it's verse 5, Zechariah is serving the course. His course is Abaya. Abaya is the 8th course, and it's June 13th through the 19th. 1 week time. He serves that. He leaves on the 19th, or he hung around for a little while. You have to figure out how many days that a priest must not travel on a Sabbath and how long it took him to get home. Remember now he's in close distance to the temple because he is a priest. And that's the course of Abaya. You find out there's 24 courses and there's 24 priests, and they serve twice a year. This course was the 8th course and you'll find it in the Pentateuch. And then he goes home, but by the time he gets home, it's June. Well, I'm not going to go through the long version of it.
Yeah, look, it's just a timing thing, Henry. Look, generally, we understand that as the Christian cultures emerged out of that part of the world and combined with some of the other cultures, especially in Europe, really,
Constantine tried to mix a lot of it in.
Well, they always celebrated the winter solstice, and they all had winter festivals, and they incorporated Christianity into their festivals, which is why we have a blended holiday here, and we understand that. But I think it's just poignant that we do.
Leland. God gave his children a calendar. We are children of light. So the summer equinox, the spring equinox. Anyway, it's always April on March 21st or March 20th, right around that same time. You count 14 days. The 15th day is Passover. There's 15 days. Now you count, and the rest of the time it's 750s, 365 altogether. Perfect calendar given to us by God. We follow that calendar. We can know when everything. We know it unlocks the Bible. And I'm sorry that we don't teach this in the churches. I'm sorry that somehow or another that all of the preachers lost their way, and they teach on a 5th grade level just so they can keep the money coming in. Is the only thing I could figure, Leland. Anyway, I just want everybody to know we get to celebrate. Think about this, Leland. We celebrate the moment that the Holy Spirit is with us on December 25th, and then we get it again to have a good time again. We don't take. I take on September 29th. I celebrate his birthday. This is so wonderful if you really think about it. God gives us so much. We just don't care to ask him and for his help to learn it. And you all have a wonderful time. Thanks for letting me rattle on.
All right, Henry.
Somebody
Thanks,
had
buddy.
ears to hear.
Thanks for the lesson, Henry. We appreciate you, man. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Henry going with the long ball tonight in the biblical theology over Christmas. I appreciate it, Henry. Perry's in Fairview. What's up, Perry?
Hey, let me tell you, I don't know, you're pretty wise on history. And we had a president do away with habeas corpus. Supreme Court didn't do anything about it. We had a president in the federalize the National Guard when George Wallace stood in the door of the University of Alabama. Supreme Court didn't say anything about that. Why they won't speak up now when Trump's trying to take care of all this craziness in some of these cities?
Well, somebody brought a case, and the court, in a 6-3 fashion, voted that he did not have the authority in this matter. And I guess, it's always historical comparisons are good. And what Kennedy had to do in Alabama, was that 63 when that happened?
Yeah,
to
about
national.
63 calls.
I think it was
because my
63,
my dad was in the National Guard at that time and got federalized and had to go down there.
Because you had a case made that civil rights were being violated, and you had this dueling sovereignty argument back then. In this case, Trump's team didn't make the proper argument, and I think the court. It's always going to be a gray area because we also don't want to support any president running over a state to have their will because of the politics of what the president wants to do.
Correct.
So,
I agree with you.
as a strict constitutionalist, we'd rather have restraint on the federal government than not. Just because Trump's president doesn't mean we should be looking past that. I'm okay with taking the L on this one because there's some other bigger, larger pressing items out there right now that Trump needs to win, the tariff strategy and all that.
As it states on, when Alabama was a short republic for a short time on our flag, we dare defend our rights, and every state has a right to defend their rights. And I'm not going to argue that point.
Well, Perry, that's a good argument, man. I appreciate you, man. As we try to chug along this afternoon, we got heavy there. We got heavy. We got into the law and theology back to back. That's okay, man. I told y'all, bring what you want. We'll talk about it. Crocker Moving Services, ready to get you moved. After you've dealt with your family for a couple of days, maybe you just want to pack up and quietly move out in the middle of the night so they can't find you anymore. Next year, Crocker will come help you with that. Maybe somebody gave you something. Like I remember when we gave my mom a chair a couple of years ago, and we had to get rid of the old one. Some of y'all are in that position where you're doing some rearranging, or somebody's gifted you something super nice. You need some strong backs to get your stuff moved. Crocker can scale their services to do any of that. They can do the sort of smaller in time but big heavy projects, single projects like pianos and pool tables, awkward furniture, up and down stairs. Any of those challenges, even with just normal furniture, can present trouble for you where you need the pros to do it. Let Crocker come and do it. I'll tell you, every time they've ever quoted me a time, this is without even looking at my house. They can estimate the rooms and the number of pieces and know exactly how long it's going to take them. And they've always come in right when they estimated, so you don't get big surprises. It's just a solid company run by a great guy. Eric Crocker is just a good patriot. So go and let them help you with all this stuff and take it off your back this year with CrockerMovingServices.com, CrockerMovingServices.com. That is Brother Kane from here in Alabama. I think Damon Johnson is playing down at Shelby County. I saw an ad for that. That has always been one of my favorite versions of that song.
Yeah.
Richard and I were talking about that on our Christmas show when we did our party down at Siluria, and that album that came out back in the 90s, and everybody in radio had this thing. It was United Cerebral Palsy, had a lot of Alabama artists do a Christmas album. Then they did another version, and the thing disappeared. I've still got the hard copy somewhere. I got the CD, and you have it scanned in from years ago when we brought it to the station. And, how did you find that? You just had it in a file somewhere?
Well, I was looking for it because I remember I was like, well, you know what it is. We're not going to be here tomorrow. I was like, well, I got to start playing some of these songs. And I thought, I was like, I couldn't remember exactly what the name of the album was.
Yeah, Christmas Dreams, and I forget the other one.
Yeah, Christmas Homecoming, and then the other one thing was Christmas Dreams.
Christmas Dreams, yeah.
Yeah. And so I remember the Christmas Homecoming because you brought that particular CD here, and I remember scanning it in. I remember this particular one, and there was another song she had brought down the house, and I think her name was Barbara Wright.
Yeah. She did Oh Holy Night.
Yeah, she did Oh Holy Night, just brought down the house. Yeah. That was another one that was very classic.
Still my favorite version of that song to this day, too. Her version on that record, favorite version.
Yeah.
You going to play it later?
I'm going to try to play that one. Yeah. So, yes.
I may have to just let it roll. Do it last, and I'll just sit back and listen to it.
All right.
Try to get in the Christmas spirit. I've been struggling with that today. There's a lot going on. Monster Liner bringing you the show tonight. MONSTALINER, monsterliner.com. Y'all, this is a great product if you got the courage to do it yourself. And I do, man. I like to get into the middle of it sometimes and just try it. If I screw it up, what's the worst that's going to happen? I have to pay somebody to fix it instead of paying somebody in the first place. That's the way I see it. So I'll take a chance. This product is designed for people that want to paint their own vehicles. Yeah. Old rusty trucks or something sitting outside getting exposed to the elements that need some attention. You can do it. We've had listeners that have done utility trailers and boat trailers and other parts and outdoor exposed equipment. It leaves a textured finish. That kind of helps with the whole project because it's a two-coat process. That helps you get by with any uneven spots or anything that would be an imperfection that a pro wouldn't do. You can't tell. It looks great. It goes on well, adheres well, because this is industrial-grade paint. That's what they do at Monster Liner. MONSTALINER, monsterliner.com, MONSTALINER, monsterliner.com. Okay, let me retrace some steps here. First up, a listener of ours pointed out with the nursing home situation, and this would have escaped me, another thing that's ever present in those facilities are the oxygen tanks. As you would find in a hospital or something like that, that would create an even bigger challenge on the rescue, potential follow-on explosions, or that could be the initial source of whatever happened here in Pennsylvania. I'm continuing to scan for updates. And then back to the National Guard ruling real quick as I thought about the previous caller and trying to compare that to the situation here in Alabama when the federal troops were nationalized. It's different in this way, and I hate to be too quirky and over-explaining about it, but in the case of the Civil Rights Act and the enforcement of it, that was a federal law that was being ignored by the states, okay? Those were federal civil rights, and the federal government has purview to make sure that people aren't discriminated against and those rights are enforced. So that was a federal case. And it's similar to the argument, the better argument would be the immigration stuff, where the feds are in charge of our immigration laws, and states have chosen to look the other way and hide these people, including Illinois. And the federal government has not only a duty, but an obligation to enforce those laws and keep the states in line. When it comes to the ruling today and what we're talking about today, it's about crime in the city of Chicago. And generally, a lot of violent crime, those laws are state laws, okay? So laws on murder and robbery and those things tend to be state issues, state laws. In this instance, you've got Trump wanting to come and help the police in Chicago deal with their local problems that are generally state problems. Unless there's an international drug gang or a terror cell or something like that working, the National Guard would be there in support of state laws. And that's where you need cooperation with the sovereign state. So not to be too philosophical about it, even though I understand Trump's moves have worked Tennessee invited him in to come help in Memphis, and it worked. You've got a Republican governor in Louisiana. They've asked them to help in New Orleans, and it's working. You've got a hard-headed Democrat in charge in Illinois, and they don't want the feds in, and that's their state sovereignty on those state laws. That's the difference in the cases. It's going to come down to federal enforcement versus state enforcement. That's in general. I didn't read the ruling, don't understand their logic, but that's generally the way to kind of sort these things out. Work Trucks bringing you the show tonight, TRUXWorkTrucksLLC.com. Y'all reach out to them if you've got a truck or you need a truck, box truck, flatbed, pickup trucks of all shapes and sizes. Maybe you just got some farmland or something. You need a runaround truck that's not super fancy. Go get one. They've got them on the lot, low miles, just off lease, extended warranties, finance packages. It's everything you need. It's a turnkey place to keep your overhead down and your business moving. It's Work Trucks, TRUX, downtown Birmingham, WorkTrucksLLC.com. We'll be back in a minute. Let's do the top of the hour 1819 news.